Emoji done.
Okay. Jai Gurudev, Swagatam. We will begin with Sahana Vavatu. Manish ji.
जी दीदी।
हाँ.
ओ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहे तेजस्विनामधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहे। ओम शांति शांति शांति। जय गुरुदेव।
Jai Gurudev. We are still celebrating 9 days of Ganesha. So I would like to talk about Sri Ganesha a little bit. A friend recently told me the conversation her children were having. They were talking about who likes what devata. One said, I like Rama. One said, I like Krishna. And one said, I don't like Shiva. Oh, why? Because he killed his son, Ganesha. Good point. I will touch upon this just in a little bit. But first, I want to read Maharishi quotes on Sri Ganesha. Maharishi said that Ganesha is one of Pancha Devatas. He said, quote, to understand Pancha Devatas, imagine a big room, unimaginably big room, and divide it into 5. These 5 are Ganesha, Shiva, Vishnu, Devi, and Surya. The range of creation is from celestial level, that is subtle level, to the inert level, that is gross level. And this whole range can be understood on 5 levels. Vishnu Bhagavan is on the top level of space dominating element, Akasha. Surya Bhagavan is in the level of air dominating level, that is Vayu. Devi, Mother Divine, is on the level of fire dominating level, that is Agni. She is the presiding deity of whole creation, and all the ladies symbolize Mother Divine. In South India, the tradition is, even to the young, they say Ma. Anand Ma, Amma, like that. Ma is added to the end of the name, and that uplifts them and gives them responsibility. Ganapati is the presiding deity of creation, where water element is dominating. And Shiva is the presiding deity of creation, where earth element is dominating. This was from Maharishi's talk in Rishikesh in February of 1969. Now we talk about devatas all the time. What is devata? Maharishi said, quote, my hands come up, my eyes see, my ears hear. Where is I? I is that, quote, nothingness, end of quote, which sees through the eyes, hears through ears. It moves the hands. That is devata. That I inside of us is Nirgun Nirakar, without any quality or shape. We grab into that nothingness, that is transcendental consciousness, with TM. It is light of God. When we say nothingness, it means that there are no boundaries, nothing in isolation. There is one unified platform. And there, the different qualities of creative intelligence are present. Shiva, Vishnu, Ganesha, Surya, all these different devatas, huge amount of devatas. They are the expressions of different qualities of creative intelligence. End of quote. Maharishi said this in global press conference on May 12th of 2004. Next, Maharishi said, quote, "This is Vedic science, the knowledge of unmanifest. It gives us the knowledge of transcendental field of life. It is more competent and more capable than our world, which is limited to sensory perception. With our senses, we can only see, hear, touch, and all that. But senses, we have to go beyond senses, transcend to experience the transcendental level of life. So Vedic science gives us the knowledge of that transcendental field of life. Our world of sensory perception is also governed by devatas. Eyes have their own devata, ears have their own devata. We call them Indra, Varuna, etc. The unmanifest is a world of its own, a world of eternal existence. You probably heard before, Maharishi said many times, Richo Akshare Parame Gyoman Yasmin Deva Adhivishve Nishedu. These devatas, Veda, they reside in transcendental field. These are Vedic devatas in the transcendental field. They are present there, they reside there. So, second line of this passage, Richo Akshare Parame Vyoman, is Yastanna Veda Kim Richa Karishyati. If one is not aware of that, what can Veda and Devata talking? Because you are not contacting them. You're not making a connection. But if you make a connection by transcending where the devatas are, they're like mother. You go to your mom, she gives you everything. Go to her when we transcend. Maharishi said, seek the kingdom of heaven within, and all else will be added unto thee. Maharishi also said on one of the Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations that Shri Ganeshaya Namaha is a great mantra. Now that is the end of Maharishi quotes. Now I gathered some information from Vedic literature and we will go over some of the meanings. What does Ganesha mean? It means unity in diversity. Let's see how that is. Gana means group. A group of this and this and this. For example, we have a group of multiple organs in the body. and that is in the relative. But there is only one controller, Isha. So Ganesha is one, unity. He's sucking and controlling us from inside. That's why we call him Antaryami. And what is he supporting? The multiplicity that is on the surface. So, worshipping Ganesha means you will be able to experience that unity, that underlying unity in diversity. भिन्नत्व में एकत्व का अनुभव होता है. Ganesha's other name is Vakratunda. We all know Ganesha removes obstacles. The biggest obstacle we want him to remove for us is Dehatma Bhranti, means Deha means Sharir, body. Bhranti means delusion. The biggest delusion most people have is that they think that their body, they think that your body is your Atma. That is a delusion, moha. You think that this unlimited Atma is limited and you are body. This is the biggest obstacle in sadhana. There are two other obstacles. That is, one is bondage, bandham, and the other is attachment. When they are gone, we are liberated. We get moksha. What is moksha? Freedom from suffering. Now let us see the role at the beginning of creation. Brahma wanted to do creation, but he was not able to do it. He was not getting anywhere. So he started meditating. And he saw an effulgent light. Remember, we studied that in chapter 3. The first step in creation is effulgent light, from which pranava, Om, took form. And then Brahma recognized, he cognized Ganesha in that pranava, Om. Then he cognized Vakratunda mantra, the vibration of that mantra that he heard. And he meditated on that. Then Brahma got knowledge of 4 Vedas in his 4 heads. Then Brahma had Shri Ganesha Darshan. Brahma narrated all this to Vyasa Bhagavan, who wrote all the Puranas and all Vedic literature. Shri Ganesha made Vyasa Bhagavan speak, and he wrote while Vyasa Bhagavan was speaking. And then all that knowledge was preserved for us. So all Vedic literature came from Ganesha, who is Brahman. Now let us see how Shri Ganesha is connected to Shri Krishna. The truth is that they both are Brahman. This brings us to the story of Shiva, quote, killing his son Ganesha. Maharishi said that Purana means ancient and eternal. Puran is one of the 40 aspects of Vedic literature. Puran means Nitya and Apaurusheya. He said that it should not be dismissed as mythology. It is called as Pratikavadam, means it uses symbolism to convey Vedic knowledge. For the purposes of understanding of common people, Vedanta in Puranas is explained in stories, such as Parvati Devi created Ganesha from the turmeric haldi that she applies on skin. Turmeric is Bhumi Tattva. It is earth element. Means part of the manifest relative. And in manifest relative, everything is Jada. Means it works only with the support of consciousness, Chaitanya. So, Sri Shiva, to put Chaitanya, removes Ganesha head and replaces with elephant head, representing consciousness or Chaitanya. He didn't really kill him. He only did some transplant surgery. You know, nowadays, how they do heart transplant, kidney transplant, like that. Sri Shiva replaced Ganesha's head, which was Jad, did not have Chaitanya, and he put another head with Chaitanya. So now what happened? Ganesha is Prakriti in the body, Purusha in the head. He is Prakriti Purushatmakam. That is Shivatmakam in the head and Shakti Tattva in the body. So Ganesha is Shiva Shakti Aikya Rupam. Is both Shiva and Shakti together. That is Brahman. Now let us see why he has 4 hands, 2 wives, etc. Ganesha gives us the knowledge of 4 Mahavakyas. Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Ayam Atma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma. When we read Bhagavad Gita introduction and preface, Maharishi said that with studying Gita, the knowledge of 4 Mahavakyas dawns on us. And Ganesha also gives us the knowledge of Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All this is Brahman. And the number 4 is, Ganesha likes number 4. He manifested on 4th lunar day. He has 4 hands, etc. But because of time factor, I'm not going to go into the details of that. Ganesha has 2 wives, they say, Siddhi and Buddhi. Wife means one who cannot be separated from husband. So, Ganesha is silence of Purusha, and his wife, dynamism, is of Shakti. Shakti is always with Purusha. Prakriti and Purusha are always together. That is the significance of saying that he has his wife all the time with him. And this topic of Prakriti and Purusha being together comes in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, Kshetra Kshetrajna Yoga. And Ganesha has 2 children, Kshema and Labha. Kshema is if you keep what you have, then you are Kshemam, you are fine. Labha is when you get something that you don't have, that is benefit, then you are happy, you are getting some benefit, like that. Okay, so now we are done with all the 9 days of Ganesha Upasana. Upasana means Sannidhya Bhavana, means having the experience of being close to your Ishta Devata. After 9 days of worship, we want to do Visarjanam. Visarjanam means some people make a clay Ganesha, that is Bhumi, earth element. And then after 9th day, they take the clay Ganesha and put him in flowing water. So the Bhumi element, the earth element, gets layam, that is, it dissolves in water when you do Visarjanam, when you put the earth Ganesha in the water. Water dissolves in Agni, fire. Agni dissolves in Vayu, air. Air dissolves in Akasha, space. Akasha in mind, and mind in Paramatma, Brahman. So, Visarjanam, taking the clay Ganesha to the water and leaving him there, is symbolic of our mind getting layam, merging in Paramatma, Brahman. Some people read Ganesha Sahasranama, 1,000 names of Ganesha daily during these 9 days. Great benefit. But not all have that kind of time. So we can listen to Ganapati Atharva Sirsha daily, which is about 8 minutes long, or recite Ganesha Dvadasha Nama Stotra, which takes about 2 minutes. Our Maharishi Vedic Pundits will recite the 12 names of Ganesha now. Manishji, go ahead, please.
जी दीदी
Ah.
जी दीदी ॐ अथ श्री गणपति संकटनाशन स्तोत्रम् ॐ सर्वसिद्धिप्रदाय नमः ॐ प्रणम्य शिरसा देवं गौरीपुत्रं विनायकं भक्तावासं स्मरे नित्यम् आयुष्कामार्थसिद्धये प्रथमं वक्रतुण्डं च एकदन्तं द्वितीयकं तृतीयं कृष्णपिङ्गाक्षं गजवक्त्रं चतुर्थकं लम्बोदरं पञ्चमं च षष्ठं विकटमेव च सप्तमं विघ्नराजेन्द्रं धूम्रवर्णं तथाष्टमम् नवमं भालचन्द्रं च दशमं तु विनायकम् एकादशं गणपतिं द्वादशं तु गजाननम् द्वादशैतानि नामानि त्रिसन्ध्यं यः पठेन्नरः न च विघ्नभयं तस्य सर्वसिद्धिकरं परम् विद्यार्थी लभते विद्यां धनार्थी लभते धनम् पुत्रार्थी लभते पुत्रान् मोक्षार्थी लभते गतिम् जपेत् गणपतिस्तोत्रं षड्भिर्मासैः फलं लभेत् संवत्सरेण सिद्धिं च लभते नात्र संशयः अष्टभ्यो ब्राह्मणेभ्यश्च लिखित्वा यः समर्पयेत् तस्य विद्या भवेत् सर्वा गणेशस्य प्रसादतः ॐ
Ganesharpanamastu. Now, we will begin our Gita Satsang of chapter 4 with recap first, and then we will study verses 7 to 10. In the last session, we have learned that this is age-old yoga, Puratana yoga, means it is time-tested and proven. Only if it is proven to be useful, it will withstand the test of time. And Arjuna is very sharp. He takes advantage of Shri Krishna Bhagavan calling him a friend and asks a question. He says, Vivasvat was born before you. So, how can you say that you proclaimed the age-old yoga at the beginning of creation. Then Shri Krishna Bhagavan says that bodies change in time, but the underlying self continues to be in past, present, and future, and continues unchanged in the eternity of time. That is why, even though the body passes from childhood, youth, and old age, the I in you continues unchanged. Then we also learned about how Sri Krishna Bhagavan takes birth, means incarnation, avatara, how it happens. He says that it is through his own power of creation. And what is that power of creation? It's Shakti, the clay power of Brahman. His birth his avatara, his incarnation, is not like that caused by Leela Shakti. He remains in the unmanifest and still manifests. That's the difference. Okay, so now we will move on to the discussion of verses 7 through 10. Manishji, Mala of the last two slokas, 5 and 6, please.
जी दीदी। ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ श्री चतुर्थोऽध्यायः। श्री भगवान् उवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्थ परन्तप अजोऽपि संयव्यात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया।
Okay, so now we will begin with verse 11. 7. Manishji, 7, please.
जी दीदी। यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्। यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्।
Hemaji, I'll read now, or you'll read the verse?
Yeah, you had the verse and commentary.
Okay. Whenever dharma is in decay, adharma flourishes. O Bharta, then I create myself. Adharma, the opposite to dharma. Dharma is derived from the root 3, meaning that which upholds. Dharma is that which upholds or sustains all that is. What is this that sustains creation? Charka and Sushruta, the ancient Indian exponents of Ayurveda, the doctrine of health, hold that it is the equilibrium of the 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, that sustain all things, creation gains in integrity with the rise of sattva and disintegrates with the rise of tamas. The equilibrium of the three gunas is maintained automatically, just as law and order are automatically maintained by a government. But whenever a crisis arises, the head of state has to exercise his special power. Whenever dharma is in decay, the balance of the three gunas is disturbed, the equilibrium in nature is lost, the path of evolution is distorted, and chaos prevails. As such, special times Shri Krishna Bhagavan incarnates. The incarnation of Shri Krishna Bhagavan is such a special manifestation of Brahman, the eternal, immutable being. Life has two phases, relative and absolute. Both are full. The absolute is full in its eternal, never changing nature, and the relative is full in its eternally ever changing nature. This eternally ever changing nature of relative life is maintained in all its aspects of creation and evolution by virtue of the enormous power of the nature called dharma, which is at the basis of the smooth functioning of the three gunas. It is like a powerful current which forcibly carries with it all that comes in its path. Dharma upholds evolution, but when, as a result of the wrongdoing of a large majority of people on earth, the power of dharma becomes greatly overshadowed, the natural force of evolution in nature becomes weak. A situation is created whereby the ever changing world of the relative existence begins to lose its natural pattern. This endangers the fullness of the relative aspect of life. The almighty power that holds intact the fullness of the absolute, together with the fullness of the relative phase of life, is stirred, and that almighty power incarnates. The decay of dharma, the distortion of the path of evolution, the decline of righteousness in society brings about a need for the restoration of the true principles of life. The incarnation comes. The whole of the nature rejoices in that coming. Dharma is restored and the evil is brought to an end. The righteous, therefore, feel obliged to the wicked because, as wickedness increases and dominates the world, the need is created for the Almighty to take form and be enjoyed by the righteous. The full purpose of incarnation is made clear in the following verse. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. So here, what we just read is that whenever dharma decreases and adharma increases, Sri Krishna Bhagavan takes an avatar. We have been talking about dharma right from the beginning, and a new point comes up in this shloka. Dharma is derived from the root dhri, means that which upholds. That which upholds and sustains everything in creation. So, what is it that sustains? Charaka and Shushruta, who brought Ayurveda to us, say that it is the equilibrium. Equilibrium, that is balance of the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. The equilibrium of the three gunas is what sustains everything in creation. And everything is in order. Automatically, everything is maintained. Like if you have a good government, everything is going well. But when this is disturbed, because of wrongdoings of many people, and tamas increases, there is chaos and trouble. The power of dharma is overshadowed. Then the government has to do something about it. Similarly, at such special times, Shri Krishna Bhagavan takes an avatar. This is special manifestation of Brahman. Another name for Brahman is Paramatma. So, when dharma keeps on decreasing and nothing is going right, there is a need for restoration of order in society, and the unseen force of dharma takes a form in avatar. The whole nature rejoices and evil is brought to an end. So, the bhaktas are grateful to the wicked because they create a need for Bhagwan to take avatar. So, scientific research on this shloka is about dharma. We just now studied that when dharma prevails, positivity increases and negativity decreases. And this study indicates that in cities in which 1% of population were practicing transcendental meditation, showed decrease in crime rate. This is called as Maharishi effect. We'll talk about it some more in the next shloka also, and I'll explain more. So now, any questions, please? Or comments or appealing points? Okay, so now we move on to the next shloka, shloka number 8. Ghanshyam ji, कृपया 8वां श्लोक का पारायण करना.
दीदी जय गुरुदेव.
जय गुरुदेव.
ओम परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. ओम.
Jai Gurudev. To protect the righteous and destroy the wicked, to establish dharma firmly, I take birth age after age. I take birth age after age. Sri Krishna Bhagavan says that he has a twofold purpose: to protect the righteous and destroy the wicked. The protection of the righteous is implied in the destruction of the wicked. But when Sri Krishna Bhagavan here speaks of protecting the righteous, he means something more than merely removing the thorns from their path. The righteous continue to uphold dharma, and they succeed in this even in times when unrighteousness dominates society, by virtue of the great strength that they receive when, during their daily meditations, they come into communion with the divine. As their minds grow in divine consciousness, the purity of their lives increases until they eventually begin to feel a strong need for the abstract bliss of God consciousness to be materialized, to be brought to the level of the senses, where it will become the object of all the senses and be enjoyed by them. Their hearts are more and more filled with love, and the need for divine revelation in some form becomes increasingly intense. When nature can no longer resist it, Then Sri Krishna Bhagwan takes birth and fulfills the desire of the righteous. This is how the righteous are protected by the Lord. Sri Krishna Bhagwan says, I take birth age after age. This shows that in every age, there are those ardent, loving devotees of God for whose sake he takes form, and when he comes to satisfy them, he also purifies the earth by destroying the negative forces which contaminate the atmosphere by opposing righteousness. Destruction of the wicked, although a reason for the Lord's incarnation, is not his main purpose. He comes to satisfy and protect the righteous. He comes on earth moved by the righteous, for the love of the righteous, for the fulfillment of the righteous, and to come on earth in order to give his love to his devotees is a joy for Almighty God. He comes on earth and the light comes. It brings extinction to the darkness of ignorance and destruction to the wicked. Equilibrium in nature is restored and the forces of evolution become stronger. Dharma becomes firmly established in the world. The establishment of dharma in God's creation is his own work. He does it. He does it again and again, either through the automatic arrangement of his government, he himself remaining behind the scenes, or by taking a body and coming to be active in the affairs of the world. Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev.
So here, Sri Krishna Bhagwan is saying that he takes birth in order to protect the righteous. This is the main purpose of coming down to earth, not to punish the wicked. That is secondary purpose. During the times when adharma is prevailing, the righteous continue to follow their dharma. And they succeed in this because they get great strength when they come in contact with the inner divine. Remember, we studied in chapter 3, Parasparam Bhavayantaha. We help each other. We transcend, and that helps Devatas, and Devatas give us their blessings. And so it is like a teamwork. They work together. So that is the greatness of the righteous people. They continue their sadhana, their spiritual practice, their meditations, yajnas, even though they are having difficult times with adharma rising. The unrighteous people, the wicked people, put so many obstacles in their sadhana. But the righteous, they don't give up. So Sri Krishna Paramatma, he appreciates that. And as they continue with their anushtanas and meditations and yajnas, their purity increases to such an extent that nature can no longer resist it. And Krishna Bhagwan takes birth to fulfill the desire of his devotees. How kind of him. And then dharma gets established again. So I have a beautiful Kumbh Mela Maharishi quote from 1966, where Maharishi makes reference to avatar. Quote, when we understand intellectually, when we can conceive of the absolute as taking a form, or if we conceive the form of the absolute, it is like an ocean. The same water, silent water, springing up as a wave or some other things of the sea. They are different, but the same water rising up as a wave. So, incarnations, that is avatars, are the same water, the same material of the Absolute, appearing as a form. The same sap appearing as a leaf. We are talking of the form of the Absolute. But in Gita, Shri Krishna Bhagavan has made this point very, very clear. Bluntly, he said, quote, "The ignorant takes me to be taking a form. The unmanifested has taken a form, has manifested itself. This I am considered as by the ignorant. That means even though I am in form, I am not manifested. The unmanifested in form, not manifested in form. The Absolute has not become relative. The unmanifested has not become manifested. Remaining absolute, it has assumed a form. There is that caution given very clearly that he has not become relative. Becoming relative means ceasing to be absolute. Becoming relative means ceasing to be this and becoming this. It's not becoming relative. It is remaining absolute, yet absolute in form. This is an incarnation. Absolute in form, that is free from any lesha avidya or any trace of avidya, ignorance. It is all enlightenment, truth, the truth. Not the cognition of truth on the level of remains of ignorance, avidya, no lesha avidya, but pure truth incarnate. Vedanta incarnate. Vedanta is the unity of life in absolute being, and that incarnating. Now, this was the reason that the whole life story of Sri Krishna Bhagavan and all that is there is for the people in consciousness to enjoy. End of quote. So there are a couple of new words Maharishi used in here, lesha avidya. If somebody is not familiar with that word or with something that Maharishi said in this quote, don't worry about it. Just listening to it is enjoyable. I mean, whether you totally understand or not, that's fine. Didn't it feel good when you heard the whole thing, what Maharishi said? So in time, the meanings will appear to be more clear. So don't worry about it if you didn't understand any point, or if you have any question, we will answer, later. The scientific research on this shloka is about, it is similar to the previous shloka. The previous study showed decrease in crime rate, that is, decrease in the negative tendencies. Whereas in this shloka, once it is shown that there was increase in positive tendencies as measured by improvement in quality of life. There was increased confidence and optimism, economic prosperity because of improvement in the stock market, improvement in national mood, etc. This is called as Maharishi effect. And the fact is, not everyone needs to do transcendental meditation or the Siddhi program. Even if 1% meditates or square root of 1% practice TM Siddhi program, we can produce Maharishi effect, and that will be sufficient to create peace on earth. So I'll stop here and take any questions? Any questions or comments or appealing points, please?
Jai Gurudev.
Yes, sorry.
Maria, go ahead, please.
Go ahead, Anita. I will wait. Hemaji.
Oh, Maria, you go ahead, please, please, please.
Okay, thank you. I have a very basic question. In the beginning, you were saying about the hindrances towards the obstacles towards total enlightenment, and one of them is attachment. Can you clarify the attachment to the Guru?
Yeah, attachment is where you are attached to something. For example, when you're wearing shoes, you know, there is Velcro nowadays. When you put Velcro, then you take it off and it comes off easily. But if you don't have Velcro in relationships, sometimes what happens is we are too attached to our family or possession. It's like crazy glue. You are attached so much that once you are away from your family or possessions, you are miserable, you are unhappy, you are depressed, and you don't feel good at all. So you feel happy when the family comes, and when they leave, you're depressed. That's attachment because you're lacking inner happiness. And when you have that inner happiness, you're content and you're satisfied. And because of that, even after the family leaves, you're still happy. So it's like Velcro. You put it on, it's clean. You take it out, it is clean. Your family comes, you're happy. Your family leaves, you're still happy. That is non-attachment. So non-attachment means you give due attention to your family or possession. The word due attention is important here. You give as much attention as you need to give. You don't give too much attachment. And also you don't shy away from them too much. Non-attachment does not mean that you cut off your relationship with your family or friends. You're still very friends. As a matter of fact, you pour out so much love on them. They just love to be with you. So a person who is in a state of non-attachment is a content and a happy man. That person is so happy. They pour out love and good feelings around them. So that is non-attachment. Maria, you know all this, but I think you are asking just for all others to repeat.
Hemaji, I think Maria specifically mentioned about attachment to the Guru. Attachment and non-attachment, we got it. But
Yes.
I don't know, is it that so, Maria? You asked specifically attachment to the Guru, if I got it right.
Yes, thank you. Yes, that's what I'm asking, and I'm asking it as a general question.
Yeah.
Just for clarification there. Thank you.
Right.
And it's good that Maria brought it up because maybe some people missed some past satsangs, and I try to bring it up whenever possible. And also for those who are hearing, it's good to hear it a few times. I didn't get it in the beginning. Now, after a few times, then I understood. So that's the value of studying Gita and studying again after a couple of years. So we get more understanding. And Anita ji, did you have a point to make?
Yes. I was thinking, I'm just relating it to myself. When we talk about the wicked and the righteousness, do we infer from that if we improve ourselves and we go march onto the path of righteousness, the wickedness that we don't see then, they will be automatically improved because we are not now looking towards that side. We are marching on a different level. So does it mean that when we march on the right path, the wicked get themselves cured?
Yeah, but you need to have a good number of them. See, in the commentary, it was mentioned that when many people do wrong, So majority are doing wrong. And if the righteous people are a minority, they are not able to neutralize the negativity caused by the wicked people.
Okay.
That's why Sri Krishna Bhagwan comes in the picture and protects righteous people and destroys wickedness, and then dharma prevails.
Right. Thank you, Hemaji.
It's in the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay.
Jai Gurudev Hema, I just want to bring up one point here. When we're speaking about wicked, is that a term that we should use or just ignorant?
Maharishi used the word wicked. So, that comes up. To be polite, we can use the word ignorant. And also, to be polite, sometimes I use the word non-meditators instead of ignorant. But sometimes these words come up in the commentary, ignorant and wicked and all those things. So it's a good idea to, use the lighter words and focus on the less negativity. Yeah. But there are people sometimes, when they do some actions, then the words wicked comes more spontaneously from our side. But that's okay. So we will move on to the next one in the interest of time. So let's move on to the next one, please. What are we doing now?
8th shloka.
9th shloka, Hemaji.
Oh, okay.
8 is over.
Ghanshyamji, 9th shloka, please.
Om Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yo Vetti Tattvataha Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Neti Mameti Sorjuna Om.
Jai Gurudev. My birth and my activity are divine. He who knows this in very essence, on leaving the body is not reborn. He comes to me, O Arjuna. My birth, the birth of the Lord, is not the same as the birth of man. It is divine in the sense that he, the divine, ever remaining in his cosmic state of transcendental being, takes a body and comes on earth. The divine birth needs no period of transition and involves no process of physical birth. The divine being does not become non-divine and non-being. Remaining divine and remaining being, he appears as man to save human life on earth and re-establish the path of righteousness. My activity, the unmanifest transcendental divine, assuming human form, remains in his divine nature and he acts. The divine nature is all being, eternal, unchanging, and non-active, even though it is the infinite source of life energy. Because Shri Krishna Bhagwan acts while remaining in his divine nature, his actions also are divine. In order to understand the divine birth and the activity of the divine incarnation, man has to rise to the state of divinity. Having risen to this state, having become established in the eternal being of the Absolute, he rises above the bondage of time, space, and causation. For him, there is no question of birth or death. He has life eternally, and he has it in the timeless, unbounded omnipresence of the Lord. His life is in his life. He comes to me, says Shri Krishna Bhagwan. There is no question of his rebirth in the world. Jai Gurudev.
Okay. Here, Sri Krishna Bhagwan is saying that his birth is divine. It's not the same as birth of man. And we have studied that in the previous verse also. It is divine in the sense that he remains divya, that is divine, and transcendental, and still takes a body. It's not a physical birth. By taking birth, he does not become non-divine, and he appears as a man. Then he says that his activity is also divine, means he remains in his divine nature while he's acting. So that makes his activity divine. In order to understand this point, that Sri Krishna Bhagavan's birth and activity are divine, Bhagavan says that one has to rise to the state of divinity himself. And what does that mean? That means we need to reach God consciousness. That's when we experience inner and outer divinity. Then one has no rebirth, and the devotee goes to Bhagavan. Why is there no rebirth? That's because you transcend time. And that's where is Bhagavan. And that's the reason. Because you're transcending time, you go beyond space and time. And that is the cause of no rebirth. They don't come back to the earth and they merge in Brahman. Now, the scientific research on this shloka shows that there is higher level of EEG coherence during transcendental meditation. So this higher level of EEG coherence is an important thing. This is correlated with three things. One is increased learning ability, higher IQ, higher academic achievement, etc. All in the area of learning and studying, going to school and all that. So that's one thing. Second thing is, in meditation, clearer experience of transcendental consciousness. We transcend. And then there is higher level of EEG at that time. And the third thing is yogic flying. Body lifts up at the point of maximum coherence in brainwave activity. So this comes up, often because, with transcendental meditation, this is a very significant thing that is happening in our physiology and very useful. Okay, so I'll stop here and take any questions. Okay, so we move on to the next one. Ghanshyam, please recite the 10th shloka.
Om Bitaraga Manmaya Mamupasrita Bhavo Jnana Tapasha Utamat Bhavamagata. Om.
Free from attachment, fear and anger, absorbed in me, taking refuge in me, purified by the austerity of wisdom. Many have come to my being. The sequence of expressions is highly significant. Freed from attachment, fear and anger is a prerequisite to absorbed in me. Freed from attachment, fear and anger, attachment, fear and anger find fertile ground in the soil of ignorance, where the self has not discovered its meaning in the self. Transcendental meditation, as explained in chapter 2, verse 45, takes the mind to the field of bliss consciousness, supreme contentment, and infinite energy, leaving no room for any kind of weakness. It brings the mind to the state of being, which forms the basis of God consciousness, expressed in the words, absorbed in me and taking refuge in me. Purified by the austerity of wisdom, austerity means denial of the pleasures of the senses or coming out of the field of sensory activity and enjoyment. The purpose of austerity is to purify by freeing the mind from the impact of the objects of sense. Likewise, knowledge separates the self from the whole field of activity. This is the significance of the expression austerity of wisdom. It should not be understood to mean that as the practice of austerity involves hardship, so does the path of knowledge. On the contrary, gaining knowledge is joyful from beginning to the end, from the state of transcendental consciousness through cosmic consciousness to God consciousness. As the mind proceeds toward transcendence, it becomes more and more free from the gross fields of experience, and this brings it nearer and nearer to the state of purity. Eventually, when the mind transcends the subtlest states of experience, it is left to itself, and then it reaches the state of absolute purity. This state of absolute purity, gained during transcendental consciousness, becomes permanent in cosmic consciousness and finds its purpose and consummation in the state of purity born of knowledge, of the ultimate oneness of life in God consciousness. In this state of knowledge, man finds that union with God of which Shri Krishna Bhagavan says, many have come to my being. By the use of the words many, Shri Krishna Bhagavan extends the hope of union with God to any man. Having now described the direct way of attaining the ultimate knowledge of in God consciousness, Shri Krishna Bhagavan in the following verse speaks about his reaction to the method of approach adopted by the seeker. So in this we have the scientific research or very interestingly, when we get to hear to know freed from attachment, fear and anger. So I give the main points first so that we have a proper comprehension. By keeping your mind and heart clean, then you are in that position where you can see God. Now, by giving up attachment, here two phrases are there, giving up attachment, then anger and fear. And why there is anger and why there is fear? Fear is there because we feel that something which is close to us will be taken away from us. And why we are in that anger? Because what we want to achieve, we are not able to achieve because of the obstacles. So what here main important thing is that the mind should be clear in its pure consciousness, because when we are attached to the material objects, then the mind too is effective. All the gunas, the sattva, rajas and tamas guna, which we earlier have read, create the equilibrium. That equilibrium and the balance is disturbed. Now here we have to observe that the mind is away from these three gunas in the self, away from the activity, that particular level of your mind which is in devotion that purifies. So the best is to clean the mind through detachment. And how this detachment is going to come is mentioned in these lines here very clearly, that when we have purified by austerity of wisdom, that means we have the denial of the pleasure. We are not working through the senses all the time for the sensory enjoyment, but we are purifying and freeing our mind. And likewise, the knowledge separates the self from the activity. And this is the signification of austerity of wisdom. So, here the scientific research also says when we reach that level where we are freed from attachment, then we are freed from fear and anger, then we are established in self actualization that refers to realizing more and more of inner potential expressed in every area of life, integration and stability of personality, self regard and emotional maturity, capacity for warm interpersonal relationship. And when these qualities are developed through Maharishi transcendental meditation, then there is increased self sufficiency, decreased vulnerability, and decreased hostility. So, this type of atmosphere, when free, pure mind is there, then we are able to function in a very smooth and an orderly manner. Jai Gurudev?
Okay, any questions? Um, I want to add a point to this. Um, nice summary, Anita ji, and nice main point. Some people keep doubting if they will reach higher states of consciousness in this life or not. All those people should read this shloka again and again. Here, Sri Krishna Bhagavan is giving reassurance. He used the word, many have come to me. Those who have got rid of Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. Raga, attachment, Krodha, anger, and Raga, Krodha, fear. So how do we do that? By transcending. And we are doing that day in and day out. And so you will reach there, and and you're doing with austerity of wisdom, which is easy. We don't have to go through any hardship in order to do the austerity. We sit and meditate, and easily and spontaneously we transcend and we experience that state of pure consciousness. So that is Atma Jnana. When we transcend, we are getting Atma Jnana. That is the austerity of wisdom. And then we are purified, and then we reach Bhagavan. It's as simple as that. So there is a great hope for many people in this shloka, that with regular practice, we just do the practice regularly, don't worry about anything, and then we get there. So that's the point I wanted to add. Any other points or questions? Okay, so we move on. We only have 13 minutes. So we'll do a brief group meditation, and then we'll have chapter 4 recitation. Let's close eyes. जय गुरुदेव। जय गुरुदेव। मनीष जी, चौथा अध्याय का पारायण करना। आप दोनों एक साथ हैं या अलग अलग हैं? घनश्याम जी एंड मनीष जी?
जी दीदी, अलग अलग हैं।
हाँ, तो घनश्याम म्यूट करके आप पढ़ना और मनीष जी आप स्पीकर पे पढ़ना।
जी
आरंभ कीजिए।
दीदी।
हाँ।
जी दीदी। ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुता तुन्वन्ति देव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः। ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ चतुर्थोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच इमं विवस्वते योगं प्रोक्तवाहनमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकमे व्रते एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदुः सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टः परन्तप स एवायं मया तेद्य योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम्। अर्जुन उवाच अपरं भवतो जन्म परं जन्म विवस्वतः कथमेतद्विजानीयां त्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति। श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्थ परन्तप अजोऽपि संयव्यात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्मायया यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृताम् धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन वीतरागभयक्रोधा मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा पूता मद्भावमागताः ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्तमानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः कांक्षतः कर्मणा सिद्धिं यजन्तं यः देवता क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा चतुर्वण्यं मया सृष्टं कुलकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्य कर्तारमव्ययम् न मां कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्मफले स्पृहा इति मां योऽभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न स बध्यते एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्मं पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वैः पूर्वतरं कृतम् किं कर्मेति कवयोऽप्यत्र मोहिताः तत्ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि यञ्ज्ञात्वा मोक्षसे शुभात् कर्मणो ह्यपि बोधव्यं च विकर्मणः अकर्मणश्च बोधव्यं गहना कर्मणो गतिः कर्मण्यकर्म यः पश्चेत् कर्मणि च कर्म यः स बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु स युक्तः कृत्स्नकर्मकृत् यस्य सर्वे समारम्भा कामसङ्कल्पवर्जिताः ज्ञानाग्निदग्धकर्माणं तमाहुः पण्डितं बुधाः त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासङ्गं नित्यतृप्तो निराशया त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासङ्गं नित्यतृप्तो निराशयः कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः निराशीर्यत चित्तात्मा त्यक्त सर्वपरग्रहः शारीरं केवलं कर्मं कुर्वान् नाप्नोति किल्बिषम् दृच्छालाभसन्तुष्टो द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः समः सिद्धावसिद्धो च कृत्वापि न निविद्यते दृच्छालाभसन्तुष्टो द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः समः सिद्धावसिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निविद्यते गतसङ्गस्य युक्तस्य गतसङ्गस्य मुक्तस्य ज्ञानावस्थितचेतसः यज्ञायाचरतः कर्मं समग्रं प्रपलीयते ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महविर्ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना दैवमेवापरे यज्ञं योगिनः पर्युपासते ब्रह्माग्नवपरे यज्ञं यज्ञेनैवोपजुह्वति श्रोत्रादीनिन्द्रियाण्ये संयमाग्निषु सप्तादीन् विषयानन्या इन्द्राशाग्निषु जुह्वति सर्वाणीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयमयोगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते द्रव्ययज्ञास्तु तपोयज्ञा योगयज्ञास्तथा परे स्वाध्यायज्ञानयज्ञाश्च यतया संसिता व्रताः अपाने जुह्वति प्राणं प्राणे पानं तथा परे प्राणापानगतिरुद्ध्वा प्राणायामपरायणाः अपरे नियताहारा प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति सर्वेप्येते यज्ञविदो यज्ञक्षापितकल्मषाः यज्ञशिष्टामृतभुजो यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनम् नायं लोकोऽस्ति यज्ञस्य कुतो यन्यः कुरुसत्तमा एवं बहुविधा यज्ञा विदता ब्रह्मणो मुखे कर्मजान् विद्धितान् सर्वानेवं ज्ञात्वा विमोक्ष्यसे श्रेयान् द्रव्यं मया यज्ञा ज्ञानयज्ञा परन्तपा सर्वं कर्माखिलं पार्थ ज्ञाने परिसमाप्यते तद्विद्धि प्राणपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वकर्दर्शिनः यं ज्ञात्वा नु पुनरमोहम् एवं ज्ञास्यसि पाण्डव येन भूतान शेषेण गच्छस्यात्मन्यथो मयि अपि चेदसि पापेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः सर्वं ज्ञानप्नवेनैव प्रजनं सन्तरिष्यसि यथैधांसि समिद्धोऽग्निर्भस्मसात् कुरुतेऽर्जुन ज्ञानाग्नि सर्वकर्माणि भस्मासात् कुरुते तथा न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते तस्त्वयं योगसंसिद्धा कारणेनात्मनि विन्दते सिद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानं तत्परा संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचरेणाधिगच्छति अज्ञश्चाश्रद्धधानश्च संशयात्मा विनश्यति नायं लोकोऽस्ति न परो न सुखं संशयात्मनः योगसन्न्यस्तकर्माणं ज्ञानासच्छिन्न संशयम् आत्मवन्तं न कर्माणि निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जय तस्मादज्ञान सम्भूतं हृत्स्थं ज्ञानासीनात्मना चित्वैनं संशयं योगम् आतिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ भारत ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे ज्ञानकर्मसन्न्यासयोगो नाम चतुर्थो अध्यायः। श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। जय गुरुदेव। हरि ओम माधव शांतिरंतरिक्षगुं शांतिः पृथिवी शांतिरापः शांतिरोषधयः शांतिः मनसः शांतिर्विश्वे देवाः शांति ब्रह्म शांतिः सर्वगुं शांतिः शांतिरेव शांतिः सामा शांतिरेधि जतो यतः समीहसि ततो नो अभयं कुरु सन्नः कुरु प्रजाभ्यो भयन्नः पाशुभियः। ॐ शांति शांति शांतिः। जय गुरुदेव।
Jai Gurudev.
जय गुरुदेव दीदी।
Nice to see you all. All can come on camera. Jai Gurudev, Manish ji and Ghanshyam ji for nice chanting. Jai Gurudev, Anita ji and Bindu, Neha and Maria. Happy Girl and Vaishali. Thank you all for joining and helping out with the whole satsang. We'll meet again next Friday, same time.
Jai Gurudev Machi.
Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev.
Gurudev.